what's happening, everyone? It is I, the man, the myth, mustache, Tim here with a brand new video for you. Welcome to Season 1, Part 6 of What If My Hero Academia Had a Suicide Squad. I wanted to stop by and say hello, and please sit back and relax because you are in for a treat. With that out of the way, let's get this story going, shall we? Hawks brought their transport around where Gigantomachia now rested, at the bottom of the mountain. Rubble and debris littered in and around his body. Dust had collected and was caked upon his face and body, dyed in the behemoth's own crimson fluids. His battle with bad company had left the giant beast of a man beaten, broken, and barely alive. They were only meant to relocate the people of the mountain village. However, in the process, they challenged the monster and vanquished him. Upon hearing this, the Warden was ecstatic. They had actually gone plus ultra on the mission. Now, Gigantomachia was his.
Well done, Leader 1. Excuse me, my apologies, Mr. Hawks.
He said cheerfully over the comlink. Leader 1 is fine. I've kinda grown to like it, Mr. Despite his clever wording, Hawks was cut off.
Clever, but it's Warden. The Warden.
The ruler of Tartarus' voice was almost sinister as he repeated his name. Someone is a little too literal. The Crimson-Winged hero was unmoved by the Warden's tone. He was now Japan's #2 hero after all, so the Warden had better come back with better material.
And suddenly, just like that, I've forgotten.
He paused, the sarcasm evident and bleeding through their moment.
Who are you again? Roadrunner?
Hawks. The winged hero snarled. He was used to others intentionally forgetting his name. Normally that would not bother him in the slightest. However, with the Warden, it was as if he was insulting his very existence.
Dodo Bird.
The sheer disrespect of audacity in the Warden's voice made Hawks turn redder than his majestic wings in anger.
Yeah, that's it, I remember now. Dodo Bird.
Hawks, you fucking ass! He yelled into the comlink, causing his company to look at him with curiosity.
Survive your next mission, and I might recall your name, Leader 1.
His voice was like a steel trap going off, ending this part of their conversation. Fine. Understood, Hawks said in defeat. So, can we get pickup for Tall, Dark, and Gruesome?
It should be coming up right about...
A loud roar rang out as suddenly a double-trailer big rig arrived, then decloaked, revealing a massive platform transporter armed to the teeth. What the hell is that? They all said in cadence as it pulled up to Gigantomachia's resting spot.
The Americans call it Rolling Thunder.
Proudly, the Warden said, as Hawks and the rest of bad company looked on in awe. It was twice the size and length of the Havoc. The front cab was diamond-shaped with 2 anti-projectile windshields separating the 2 driving cockpits. The reason for this was because it required 2 drivers to pilot both the back and the front of this road dreadnought. Its most prominent feature was the large bed in the middle of it. This was where Gigantomachia would be placed. On the back end of the vehicle was a large crane where a main cannon would be. In a seat beside the crane was an operator. Muscular instantly recognized who it was. Hi, I'm Tim. It was the guard that hit Muscular with the Herman. He's smiling under his balaclava and was giving Hawks and bad company a little wave, to which the 3 in the front waved back. As for the one in the trailer,
Hi, Tim, you wretched little bastard. I will eat your heart out and shit down your throat,
Muscular said through gritted teeth. He was watching via the monitor in the back trailer. The Nomu gave Muscular a warning warble.
Yeah, piss off.
The Nomu then slapped him upside the head.
Hey, I said piss off!
The Nomu warbled and hissed as Muscular returned the favor, mocking the beast. Muscular then rolled his eyes back to the monitor. They had just loaded the giant onto Rolling Thunder's bed. 4 seats came up the sides of Rolling Thunder with Tartarus guards in hazmat suits. Each one of them were behind a turret aimed directly at Gigantomachia. Very quickly after the seats locked into place, restraints along with quirk-canceling equipment were attached to the giant to guarantee secure transport. Only then did the road dreadnought's fusion engines ignite and began roaring to life. Holding up this massive transport were 8 Firestone 70/70/57 SRG tires. They were usually only reserved for the Letorno L2350 loader, which was and still is the world's largest mining loader. Each of the tires were 13 feet in diameter and 8 tons deflated. The road dreadnought may take a bit to get to its top speed at 225 miles per hour, but once it did, the manufacturer doubts that not even the likes of All Might or Godzilla could stop it. After supervising Gigantomachia's transport, Bad Company and Rolling Thunder rolled out. The latter activated its hollow emitters, disguising itself as a convoy of big rigs. Hawks was right on their heels, activating Havoc's own hollow emitters, then filing in as part of the convoy. As they made their way back, the convoy was not met with any interference on their journey back to Tartarus. When the convoy arrived at Tartarus, Hawks was called up to be personally debriefed by the Warden. Muscular, Overhaul, and Gentle Criminal, on the other hand, were escorted back to their cells. The Nomu assisted with Muscular's escort. Even with the quirk canceling restraints firmly in place, the pumped-up villain was still a valid threat to everyone. Hawks arrived at the Warden's office promptly. He was greeted, surprisingly, with a champagne flute. The winged hero looked at it curiously, then gently took it from the Warden's hand, but did not drink it.
You need not be afraid. This is from my personal stock.
The Warden gestured nonchalantly as he walked back to his desk and leaned into it. That somehow does not comfort me at all. Hawk stared down at his drink. He was still debating whether or not if he should partake of the spirit. The Warden adjusted his jacket before speaking.
Leader 1, have you forgotten who I am?
No. Hawk's eyes narrowed fiercely, granting him a chuckle from the Warden. It's because I haven't forgotten that I am weary from accepting anything from you.
Fair enough.
The Warden tipped his flute in the winged hero's honor.
But if I wanted to do harm to you, it would have already been done, and I would personally deliver your head to the director myself.
At this, Hawks tossed the drink aside and unsheathed 2 of his longest feathers. With snarling teeth, Hawks charged the Warden, who dodged each and every one of his attacks. The Warden was fast, incredibly so. What was he? Miss after miss after miss. The Warden just dodged each and every one of Hawks' attacks. The Warden kept a simple smile upon his face as his emerald eyes seemed to follow each and every one of the winged hero's attacks. He allowed this nonsense to continue until the Warden finally caught both of Hawks' feather swords with a loud clap. What are you? At his words, the Warden only gave him a huge, otherworldly grin as he twisted his arms, snapping the feathers in 2. Hawks then received a massive headbutt, knocking him back before the Warden ended the conflict with a massive uppercut to the hero's solar plexus. This time, Hawks did not lose his lunch, but rather passed out on his knees. Pleased with himself, the Warden gently put the winged hero on his side in the recovery position.
And spoil the fun?
The Warden then began to laugh.
Oh, my dear Toto bird. You've not yet earned that privilege.
Elsewhere within the prison, Stain was taken to the infirmary. He had suffered the most in the conflict with Gigantomachia. Most of his body was broken and or hemorrhaging from various places and orifices. In short, the man was foobar, at least to any common medical facility, but this was Tartarus, and the hero killer was a part of Bad Company. The connections the Warden held were vast and attached to several networks, both above and below the table, as it were. From the moment Stain arrived till late in the following evening, medical professionals from all around the world tended to him, mostly due to them owing a favor or in need of settling an unsightly debt to a loan shark, a pimp or madam, or hell, just gambling in general. Whatever it was, they all answered the call of the Warden. Honey is a free browser add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, Safari. If it's got a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, and Kohl's. Wherever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out at these stores is to click that little orange button and it will scan the entire internet and find discount codes for you. If there's a coupon code, they will find it. And if there's not a coupon code, you can be rest assured that you are getting the best price possible. If you install Honey right now, you can save $50 to $100 on your shopping doing nothing. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks. 10 million people use it. 100,000 5-star reviews. Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. Hey, that rhymed. If you hate money, don't install Honey. But if you love money, you better install Honey. I'm kidding. Anyway, back to the video. By the third day, Stain was already recovering normally due to all the medical attention. He was now in a better cell, which was vastly more comfortable. It was then his door slot opened, grabbing his attention. Well done on the Gigantomachia incident, Stain. The warden asked what you would like for dinner. Anything you want. Stain could hear the sincerity in the guard's voice. This should be interesting.
For what? Being a good slave?
Stain grumbled as he started doing some mild calisthenics. He had to keep himself in shape and flexible. Whatever helps you sleep at night, but he is serious. You did the most out there, the MVP on this mission. So don't you go all getting a big head now. Stain could hear the guard's sly smirk as he spoke. The hero killer then went into a handstand and continued with his push-ups.
I would like the biggest steak he can find, cooked slightly above medium. I do not want it mooing, but still pink, please.
Might as well get a good last meal out of his master, he thought. He then slowly let his legs do a scissoring motion while still in a handstand. Now we're talking. Sides and drink? The guard was so bubbly that he was making Stain nauseous from just his words. However, that could also be the blood rushing to his head too. Stain then slowly brought his legs down atop his bed, then continued with his push-ups.
Some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Pleased with his words, Stain allowed a small smirk to form upon his dry lips. He then laid down, flipping to his back, and hooked his legs underneath his bed, then began doing sit-ups. Classic. As if on cue, Stain then did a sort of hissing, slurping sound. Damn, you're good. I'll let him know. Great job out there, Stain. The guard then left, closing the slot with a loud clang. A little over an hour later, Stain could smell his order. The guards called out to him to back up. With curiosity and in shock, he complied. The armed guards opened his door and entered with a medium-sized table and a large tray. On the tray was a 110-ounce steak. This was followed by his side of fava beans, and of course, in a bucket of ice, a nice Chianti. The guards quickly set up and left. Stain was in too much shock to attack. The smell was overwhelming his senses. The hero killer could tell his meal was well made. He then chuckled at the sight of the red solo cup for him to pour his drink in. The guards did not even bother opening a little bottle for him, for they knew he probably had something already. They were, of course, right. Stain always had something on him. He then sat down. The slot on his cell door then opened, and a hard plastic fork was laid upon it. Stain took it and then dug into his meal. He had to admit it, they got his order right. It was the best meal he ever had in his entire life.
I've never had a Chianti in my entire life.
The hero killer roared with laughter as he partook of his fava beans.
Ha ha, they're disgusting. Ha!
3 days prior to Stain recovering, Overhaul, medium ale, a guard announced through Overhaul's cell door slot. Taking a deep breath, the former Yakuza boss got up and then turned around facing the back wall. His arms suddenly hummed as they became magnetized and then locked onto themselves behind his back. Once Overhaul was secure, his cell door opened, followed by a guard entering, who took him by the shoulder, escorting him out of his cell.
It's not like I can get away. Must you really put your filthy hands on me?
Despite not being able to feel the guard's touch, the former Yakuza boss loathed being touched and having to be escorted like this. Medium ale was different from an inmate's regular mail, in that its privacy was protected by the law. Though, being criminal and having broken countless scores of them, the guards, as well as the warden himself, were not allowed to screen any inmate's media mail. These were private documents pertaining to the inmate's barrister or lawyer for those in the West. Overhaul was escorted to a private room with no windows or cameras. It was small, with room enough for a single metal chair and table. When he was done with his mail, he had to knock on the door, then face the table. Speaking of which, on the table was a sealed manila envelope with Media Mail stamped in red on it. Overhaul's arms were released, and the lights on them went yellow, signaling that privacy was assured. The warden had no choice in the matter and had to add this feature. Even the Warden, as powerful and influential as he was forced to obey the law at times. Opening the envelope, a note fell out. It was from Jiren.
Not everyone's invincible, including the Warden. So let's have a bit of a quid pro quo. My resources can disable the bomb in your head, and I can give you better arms without the safety features installed. Your connections, my good sir, can put me back on top. You can connect me with most of the old Tokyo Underground. I have no share loyalty to anyone, but I serve for the good of all. Respond using this envelope. Tra-la!
After reading the short note, Overhaul noticed some blank paper and a pen that was underneath the envelope. He quickly wrote out his response and slipped it inside the envelope. Overhaul then flipped it to the back and tied it in a figure 8, sealing the flap in place. He then knocked on the door, stood up, and faced the table. His arms magnetized, locking behind his back before a guard came in.
I have written my response. Please make sure that it gets mailed out.
Holding back a knowing smile, Overhaul was as polite as he possibly could be. The guard then took the envelope and escorted him back to his cell. That same day, Gentle Criminal was given a 2-hour visit with his precious Labrava. She was still shaken from being abducted from their safe house in Osaka. Immediately, when Gentle Criminal was taken into custody after his bout with one Izuku Midoriya, he did not hesitate and took the entire bid the court gave him, much to the despair of his most cherished friend. Gentle Criminal did not care how long he would have to be incarcerated for, so long as his Labrava was safe. Technically, she was not officially branded as a criminal, but that mattered not for the Warden. A few calls and one keystroke later, Labrava's safe house was raided. She was not given the time to delete her hard drives as the hired men pinned her to the ground at gunpoint. They were some sort of secret police working with and for the Hero Public Safety Commission. So long as any sort of evidence was found, no matter how disconnected it was, she could be taken. What the men found, among her lewd fanfiction fantasies of the man she adored, were videos of their antics, the hard copies. They had Labrava dead to rights. Now, she was a guest at Tartarus at the Warden's leisure. The deal was simple: a clean slate, new identities, and banishment from Japan in exchange for 3 missions. 3 suicide missions. Gentle Criminal, without hesitation, made his deal with the devil, all to save his precious Labrava. The present. Muscular bashed in the head of another large robot. It was the same size of what the students at UA faced during their entrance exams. These were the zero-pointer robots, and now Muscular had a whole school of them to play with every day till the next mission. However, what Muscular really and truly wanted was a conga line of concubines leading to his cell. When that was denied, he wanted a one-on-one session with the guard, Tim. When that was also denied, he settled for steak and eggs along with these wonderful new playthings that came courtesy of the Hero Public Safety Commission. Far above Bad Company's cells, Hawks now had his own quarters within the walls of Tartarus, just below the Warden's office. He had to admit it was better than his current apartment, which was just below Maruko's apartment. He paused and let a small smile briefly paint itself across his face. The thought of Maruko made him almost forget that he was also in this hellhole. Even though Hawks was not dating the rabbit hero, she was, however, his best friend. The only thing that came remotely close to them being together was when they gave each other their firsts after graduating from Hiroshima Hero Academy. He was valedictorian, and she was magna cum laude, second to his GPA. She invited him over to her home, for neither of them had any family to speak of. Hawks was an orphan adopted by the commission, and her parents died the year before in a motorcycle accident. So that night, they were each other's graduation gift. Except, he caught feelings. As he thought of her now, Hawks was laying down on his California king bed. He knew that working with or for the commission was not the ideal environment for a relationship. He never got to find out how or if Maruko felt the same way. So be it. Banishing the bot away. For now, he looked down at the files the CDs sent over to him. They were thin, as if they were just cosmetic, as he sat up ruffling through them again and again. Who are you, Warden? There was nothing tangible in there, not even his bloody name for Christ's sakes. Just height, weight, Eye color, emerald. This is bullshit! The few papers in the file flew into the air as he fell back onto his bed. To say he was frustrated was an understatement. Hawks then got up and made his way to the balcony. He was free to come and go as he pleased, so long as he came back when the next mission came around. He took to the sky after he removed his earpiece. How the hell am I supposed to cover my own tail feathers if not even my own job has the information I need? He could not go to the Shadow Broker, for as far as he knew, his operations were broken. He did an aileron roll, commonly misconstrued as a barrel roll, as he then spread his wings just as he broke through the cloud line. It was quiet up here, past the clouds and far above all the air traffic. Think, Hawks. Think. Come on, it's not like he just appeared yesterday. His mind chewed on the enigma that was Tartarus's Warden. Not even Nagant knows his name, just that he's a very powerful man with nigh infinite resources. Hawks felt like he was beating his head against a brick wall as he hovered there in the silence of the night sky. He let out a scream of frustration at the top of his lungs before letting his arms drop. This is not over, Warden. I will find out just who or what the hell you are. Hawks then returned to his quarters, only to be greeted by Lady Nagant. She was holding the paper-thin file in her delicate hand with a smirk. She then calmly walked towards Hawks, who was already ready to fight. She then wrapped him in her arms as the lights went out. And that's our video for today, so thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I go, there's a little bit of housekeeping I'd like to go over with you all. First, if you're in the mood for some more great storytelling, then We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Second, on behalf of We the Celestials, I also want to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the descriptions below. Give some love to the writer and the editors because they do a lot of work here. Finally, if you like what we do here with the Celestials, then I want to extend an invitation to join our team. We only have one caveat: you must be 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. But that's it for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have an amazing day. And as always, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and stay awesome. This has been Tim. Mustache out.